Neanderthals did not disappear by chance. They were hunted by much larger humans. This was not a monster or a legend. They were human, just a different kind. Life during the Ice Age was short, dangerous, and relentlessly brutal. Europe was locked in ice, with freezing temperatures lasting for thousands of years. Food shortages, extreme cold, and deadly predators shaped every moment of survival. In this world, physical weakness often meant death. Many early human groups failed to survive these harsh conditions. Only a few human populations adapted well enough to endure the Ice Age. The most famous of these survivors were the Neanderthals. Neanderthals were powerfully built, with thick bones and strong muscles. For decades, they were considered the ultimate Ice Age humans. But Neanderthals were not the only humans who survived this frozen world. Another human group lived alongside them for thousands of years. They faced the same cold, hunted the same animals, and fought for the same land. Surprisingly, this group was not a separate human species. They were early modern humans, closely related to us today. If you saw them alive, you would immediately recognize them as human. However, their bodies were far more extreme than modern humans. Many individuals were exceptionally tall and heavily built. Some Cro-Magnon males reached about 6 feet 3 inches or 190.5 centimeters. Their bones were larger, wider, and denser than those of modern humans. A typical collarbone was around 7.5 inches long or 19.05 centimeters. This provided powerful shoulder leverage for hunting and combat. When these remains were discovered in France in 1868, scientists were stunned. These humans became known as Cro-Magnon, and their Ice Age story had just begun. After the initial discovery, scientists began comparing Cro-Magnon bones with other ancient humans. These comparisons revealed consistent patterns across multiple skeletons. Cro-Magnon skeletons showed fully modern limb proportions. Their arms and legs were long, indicating efficient long-distance movement. This body design favored endurance rather than short bursts of strength. Their pelvis structure closely matched that of modern humans. This confirmed they walked and ran with a fully upright posture. Their rib cages were broad, supporting powerful lungs. This adaptation improved oxygen intake during intense physical activity. Cro-Magnon bones also showed unusually thick cortical layers. This thickness increased resistance to fractures. Shoulder joints were large and heavily reinforced. This allowed repeated powerful throwing motions. Muscle attachment points on the arms were extremely pronounced. These markings indicate exceptional upper body strength. A typical Cro-Magnon adult weighed about 20% more than a modern human of similar height. Most of this additional weight came from muscle mass. Fat levels were likely low due to constant physical demands. These bodies were shaped by lifelong physical stress. Fossils show many individuals survive serious injuries. Healed fractures suggest long-term care within their groups. This level of survival indicates strong social cooperation. Cro-Magnon were not just physically strong, but socially organized. Their bodies and behavior marked a major shift in human adaptation. These traits would soon give Cro-Magnon a decisive advantage in Ice Age Europe. Extreme strength alone was not enough to survive the Ice Age. Daily life exposed Cro-Magnon to constant injuries and illness. Fossil evidence reveals many individuals suffered serious physical trauma. Broken bones that healed indicate survival after severe injuries. These injuries were often caused by hunting large animals. Close-range hunting dramatically increased the risk of injury. Some skeletons show fused vertebrae in the neck region. This condition likely resulted from repeated heavy trauma. Despite this, individuals lived long enough for bones to heal. At the Cro-Magnon site, multiple individuals show signs of infection. Infections were dangerous before the existence of medicine. Yet some individuals survived long-term infections. One adult female survived a major head injury. Bone regrowth shows she lived years after the injury. This survival required long-term care from others. Such care suggests strong social bonds. The first Cro-Magnon skeleton ever discovered tells a similar story. His skull shows extensive facial damage and abnormal growths. These features likely came from a genetic disorder. Despite this, he lived to an advanced age for his time. Average life expectancy remained low during the Ice Age. Most individuals did not live beyond early adulthood. Survival favored resilience, not longevity. Every healed injury represents a victory over extinction. This resilience prepared Cro-Magnon for the most dangerous task of all. The greatest danger Cro-Magnon faced came from the animals they hunted. Unlike small prey, Ice Age megafauna fought back violently. Cro-Magnon focused on large herbivores that dominated Ice Age Europe. Their primary prey included horses, reindeer, and wild cattle. Fossil sites also show hunting of giant deer and aurochs. In rare cases, they even hunted woolly mammoths. These animals could weigh several tons and were extremely dangerous. Direct evidence comes from animal bones bearing human-inflicted wounds. Some remains show injuries inflicted both before and after death. This confirms deliberate and systematic hunting. Cro-Magnon were not reckless hunters. They used planning and teamwork. Groups worked together to exhaust and corner massive animals. Natural landscapes became deadly traps. Animals were driven toward cliffs, rivers, or deep snow. These tactics reduced risk while maximizing success. Cro-Magnon also hunted apex predators. Cave bears, large cats, and hyenas became human prey. These hunts required extreme courage and precise coordination. Stone and bone weapons were used at close range. Hunting injuries were common, but the rewards were enormous. A single large kill could feed an entire group for weeks. Meat, fat, bone, and hide were all carefully used. This efficiency supported larger populations and higher survival rates. Over time, intense hunting pressure reshaped Ice Age ecosystems. Cro-Magnon had become the most dangerous predators in Europe. Once Cro-Magnon mastered hunting animals, a darker threat emerged. The most dangerous enemy was no longer nature, but other humans. Ice Age Europe was crowded with competing human groups. Food, territory, and mates became sources of violent conflict. Fossil evidence shows Cro-Magnon did not always die peacefully. Many skulls display blunt force trauma caused by heavy weapons. These injuries are distinct from hunting accidents. The most famous case is known as Cro-Magnon 2. He suffered massive facial trauma from a powerful blow. The injury did not kill him immediately. Internal bleeding and brain swelling caused his eventual death. Other individuals show lethal cuts to the upper spine. These blows would have caused instant death. Such precision suggests deliberate killing, not accidents. Violence was likely organized, not random. Some victims were attacked from behind. This indicates ambush tactics. Cro-Magnon possessed the physical strength to kill other humans. Their weapons were originally designed for hunting large animals. Against human bodies, these weapons were devastating. Archaeological sites show repeated patterns of violent death. This suggests conflict was a recurring part of Cro-Magnon life. Ice Age survival pushed humans toward extreme behavior. Cooperation and violence existed side by side. This dark reality set the stage for an even deeper horror. Violence was not the darkest behavior seen among Cro-Magnon. Archaeology reveals evidence of human cannibalism. These findings are rare but unmistakable. The clearest evidence comes from a site in England. This location is known as Gough's Cave. Inside the cave, human bones were mixed with animal remains. The human bones show the same processing marks as hunted animals. Cut marks indicate deliberate removal of flesh. Long bones were broken open to extract marrow. This behavior mirrors survival-based cannibalism. However, the skulls tell a more disturbing story. Several skulls were carefully shaped into cups. This required time, skill, and intention. Such skull cups go beyond simple hunger. They may reflect ritual or symbolic behavior. At least 3 individuals were identified at the site. 2 of them were very young. This confirms that age did not protect against cannibalism. There is no evidence these individuals died naturally. Their bodies were processed after death. Whether they were killed or died first remains unclear. What is clear is that Cro-Magnon were capable of this behavior. Cannibalism likely occurred during extreme stress or crisis. It reveals how far survival could push human behavior. And it forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth about ourselves. Cro-Magnon were not alone in Ice Age Europe. Neanderthals had lived there for hundreds of thousands of years. For thousands of years, both groups shared the same landscapes. They hunted similar animals and occupied overlapping territories. This coexistence created constant tension and competition. Early theories blamed Cro-Magnon violence for Neanderthal extinction. Modern research paints a more complex picture. There is little evidence of large-scale prehistoric warfare. However, isolated violent encounters did occur. One famous case shows a Neanderthal killed by a stone projectile. This type of weapon was not used by Neanderthals themselves. Cro-Magnon, however, mastered long-range weapons. This gave them a critical tactical advantage. Neanderthals typically relied on close-range hunting tools. Against distant attacks, they were highly vulnerable. Some Neanderthal bones also show cut marks. These marks may indicate cannibalism, but evidence remains limited. What is clear is that Neanderthal populations declined rapidly. Climate change further reduced their habitable environments. Competition with Cro-Magnon intensified these pressures. Neanderthals did not vanish instantly. For a time, they survived alongside Cro-Magnon. Their final disappearance marked the end of a long human lineage. Yet Neanderthals did not completely disappear from humanity. Their legacy lived on inside Cro-Magnon themselves. The connection between Cro-Magnon and Neanderthals went beyond conflict. Genetic evidence shows they also interbred. This discovery reshaped our understanding of human evolution. Early assumptions claimed modern humans replaced Neanderthals entirely. DNA tells a different story. A fossil dated to about 40,000 years ago provides key evidence. This individual carried approximately 9% Neanderthal DNA. That level suggests a Neanderthal ancestor only 4 generations back. Such recent ancestry confirms direct interaction between the groups. These encounters were not isolated events. Genetic mixing likely occurred repeatedly over thousands of years. Over time, Neanderthal traits became diluted. Climate instability reduced populations, carrying strong Neanderthal features. Cro-Magnon populations continued to expand and stabilize. Natural selection favored traits better suited to changing environments. Some Neanderthal genes, however, persisted. These genes may have helped with immunity and cold adaptation. Cro-Magnon became a biological mosaic of 2 human lineages. This blending challenges the idea of clear species boundaries. Human evolution appears messy, complex, and deeply interconnected. Cro-Magnon were not just conquerors of Europe. They also carried the legacy of those they replaced. This genetic legacy still exists in humans today. We are not separate from our ancient relatives. The story now shifts from survival to culture and intellect. Physical survival alone does not explain Cro-Magnon's success. Their greatest advantage may have been their minds. Cro-Magnon brains were large by any human standard. Average brain volume was around 92 cubic inches, or roughly 1,514 cubic centimeters. This is larger than the modern human average. The frontal and occipital regions were especially developed. These regions are linked to planning, vision, and coordination. Intelligence expressed itself through technology. Cro-Magnon created a wide variety of specialized tools. Weapon designs varied for different tasks and prey. They mastered long-range weapons like throwing spears. Some evidence suggests early forms of bows may have existed. Cro-Magnon culture diversified over time. Archaeologists identify several major cultural traditions. These include Aurignacian, Gravettian, Solutrean, and Magdalenian. Art became a defining feature of Cro-Magnon life. Cave paintings depict animals with striking realism. Red ochre was used to paint bodies and objects. Small sculptures, including Venus figurines, were created. Music also played a role in Cro-Magnon culture. Bone flutes show evidence of complex sound production. This suggests a deep, lost musical tradition. Cro-Magnon also formed wide trade networks. Materials traveled over long distances between groups. They may have even begun forming bonds with early dogs. Unlike Neanderthals, Cro-Magnon did not fade into extinction. Instead, their populations continued to grow. Archaeological evidence suggests rapid demographic expansion. Over time, human numbers in Europe increased dramatically. Some estimates suggest populations grew nearly tenfold. By the late Ice Age, tens of thousands of Cro-Magnon lived across Europe. These growing populations reshaped the human landscape. Regional differences began to emerge between groups. Over generations, Cro-Magnon blended into later European populations. There was no sudden disappearance, only gradual transformation. Traits once seen in Cro-Magnon became part of modern humans. Their strength, adaptability, and creativity endured. By the beginning of the Neolithic period, Cro-Magnon were no longer distinct. They had become the ancestors of later European peoples. Their genetic legacy extended far beyond the Ice Age. Many modern Europeans still carry traces of this ancestry. Cro-Magnon's success came from both strength and intelligence. They adapted to extreme cold, violence, and scarcity. But they also created art, music, and culture. These qualities ensured their long-term survival. The Ice Age forged humans capable of both beauty and brutality. Cro-Magnon embodied this contradiction. They were hunters, artists, survivors, and ancestors. Their story is not lost in the past. It lives on in us.